Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the OCNJ Local, your podcast for everything happening here in America's greatest family resort. We're your hosts, Dominick Dougherty and Drew Fasy.
And we are your local guys.
Drew, man, what a beautiful weekend it turned out to be.
Today was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we had the first official day of summer this week, and it seemed like it just rained for 7 straight days. And finally, the clouds have broken. The sun was back out. It was a gorgeous day on the beach. I was down there with my family. It was awesome. Uh, just ran up to the boardwalk to grab a slice of pizza from one of my personal favorite spots, but I'll save that for another discussion here.
I know where you went.
And the boardwalk was jamming. People were out. The island is coming to life.
Yep, it is alive.
It is,
Good
man.
stuff.
It's a good thing.
Welcome everyone.
For real. And the big
second homeowners, vacationers, day trippers, welcome. Glad you're here.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you. With that said, I don't know how many more days that we got until Labor Day here.
You lost the countdown already.
I lost the countdown already. Well, you know what? I got a little less grumpy this week. I'm not going to lie.
Good.
The sun came out.
Will do that for
the
you.
The weather, getting some time on the beach, it definitely, brightened my spirits.
For those non-residents, non-locals, there's a process. The day after Memorial Day, the countdown begins until Labor Day. And the day after Labor Day, the countdown begins until Memorial Day. Did I say that right?
You got it right this time.
Got it right
this time. So there are officially 69 days until Labor Day. So 69 days.
I'm going to enjoy every single one of them, buddy.
Same. I'm going to, turn the corner. Got a little grumpy. Now that we got this rain, made me kind of miss all the great things that Ocean City has to offer in the summertime. The beach, the boardwalk, so now that it's back and it's alive, I'm feeling good.
Good.
It is.
Let's go.
It is. Loving it, enjoying it, sitting on the beach today, just looking out at the ocean, just getting lost on the horizon, watching the catamarans and the boats sail. And, I couldn't help to think about today's topic, though, blowing in the wind. Right now, there are 3 potential offshore wind farms that could dramatically change the landscape here, not just in Ocean City, but throughout all of the Jersey Shore. If this is approved and if these projects move forward, it seems like there are some very powerful entities that want this to happen. And, the locals, if you've come to Ocean City, I came in yesterday and there were 4 or 5 people sitting at the foot of the bridge. They had signs up the whole way in, get active, save our coast, giving out information to people who wanted to talk about it or wanted to learn about it. It's a pretty passionate topic here right now in Ocean City, as well as in Brigantine and LBI. I know they have some groups going. There's actually a festival over the weekend to, drum up interest to, help try and slow this process down. With such a charge issue, it's always hard to, root through and find the facts. So, Drew, as always, you do your due diligence. You go through, you find, what the meat and potatoes are here. So why don't you give us, the facts here on these 3 proposed wind projects that will have the biggest impact on Ocean City?
Okay, the facts as I know them. And Dom, I'm going to stick to Ocean City because this is going on up and down the coast, Maryland, Delaware, New York. But I'm going to stick to local for now. I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole. So we're talking about the industrialization of our ocean. We're talking about wind energy, so-called clean energy. Ørsted North America is the company. It's a Danish energy company that has two of the three projects that will directly impact Ocean City. The three projects are Ocean Wind 1, Ocean Wind 2, and Atlantic Shore South. Ocean Wind 1 will have 99 turbines. Ocean Wind 2 will have 88 turbines, and Atlantic Shore South will have 202 turbines for a total of 389. Now, that's only three projects. There are multiple other projects in play at various stages. And at the end of the day, if all these projects are approved, from the Flanders Hotel, you will be able to see 662 turbines.
Wow.
Let me repeat that. 662 wind turbines will be visible from the Flanders Hotel. It's a lot going on.
Yeah, that's a lot going on. And,
yeah,
from what I can see, just from the boardwalk alone, if you're just standing on the boardwalk in Ocean City, you'll have a view of 593 beautiful wind turbines. From our beloved music pier here, you'll have a view of 581 wind turbines. So
that's if all these projects come to fruition.
And I believe there are a total of 6 projects. The 3 that Drew mentioned are just the ones that are the furthest along at this point. Ocean Wind 1, from what I can see, they've already had their lease granted to them. So they're ready to go. This data is coming from the Atlantic Shores South proposal. They just applied for their lease. So we're in a public comment period of 45 days to review the 62 or 6,500 page document that was just released. So,
right.
So
the construction on Ocean Wind 1 could start in Q4 of 2023. There is some resistance. We'll talk about that. The why. So, we can talk about the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, a federal agency. We can talk about the Green New Deal. But again, I'm going to stick to New Jersey, and I'm going to, kind of point the finger at Governor Murphy. He has a goal, actually made a promise, that offshore wind will generate enough electricity to meet 50% of the state's demand for electrical power by the year 2030, and all of the demand by 2050. They're unrealistic goals. They were from the very beginning, but that is his statement, which means that our 3 projects are really a drop in the bucket to what could happen off the Jersey coast in the next several years. And these turbines are 900 to over 1,000 feet tall, and they'll be placed between 10 and 15 miles off our coast.
So just to put that in perspective, right? 900 feet. We can throw around numbers all we want. If you're standing on the beach and you look north to Atlantic City, you can see the Ocean Resort. That's the big building with the colorful ball on top. That stands at 720 feet high. So you're talking 200 feet will be the apex of the blade rotation of these wind turbines. 200 feet bigger than
close to 300 feet
than the ocean.
For Atlantic Shores. Yeah.
For Atlantic Shores, close to 300 feet for Atlantic Shores. You are right. And just to put it
with lights at night.
Lights at night.
They will be lit up at night. Yep.
To put that in perspective, Well, Atlantic City is really close. Atlantic City is 11 miles. The ocean, in particular, is 11 miles from the north end of Ocean City. I know that because my wife works there. We drive it all the time. It's 11 miles. So you're talking something 300, potentially 300 feet bigger than that building, 11 miles out to sea. And not
And
just
not
one of
just
them.
one.
You're talking you're all talking like 600 or 700 of them out
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
So,
yeah. So the why is energy, right? If you look at Orsted's marketing materials, they boast the reasons it'll help the U.S. meet its growing energy demands. It'll create well-paying, accessible jobs, grow local and regional economies, and number 4 is support new manufacturing and infrastructure. Now, that sounds like someone running for office. I mean, how many times as a politician, promised well-paying jobs, right? We hear that from at every election cycle. So,
listen,
but
if it's a well-paying job, it's most likely going to be a very dangerous job.
Right.
Thinking about being out on the ocean, the size of the vessel that you need to be on to build a wind turbine that big, what you're going to need to service these, not to mention the substations that will be out there to convert this electricity to go into the grid. These are going to be well-paying jobs. They're going to be very dangerous jobs. And who has the skills for these jobs now? So, it's interesting.
Again, that's Orsted's marketing material, right? So that's the facts. That's what is ahead of us right now in varying stages.
Well, like I said, when we opened up, it's a very charged issue. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll give you guys the locals' take on what's blowing in the wind, these 3 wind projects. All right, everyone, welcome back. Today we're discussing the proposed wind farms here off the Jersey Shore. Drew, I'll admit when I first heard about this, and probably about a year ago when the buzz really started to pick up some steam here about the wind farms, I was just like, yeah, wind farms, nah, this doesn't really jive with me. I don't know how much I'm for this. This past week, I stopped in at one of these public comment sessions, and it was pretty interesting. BOEM, the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, were hosting these events. They hosted one in LBI and they hosted one in Atlantic City at the convention center. And I was assuming that you would go and you'd be able to make a public comment. However, it was more of an information session. One conference room had subject matter experts on every aspect of the project, what it's going to look like visually, how it's going to affect the marine life, how it's going to affect birds, what the construction is going to be like, how it's going to affect tourism. And then the other room is where you could go and you could record your comment for a court reporter, or you could type it out. So it wasn't very public comment. It was more like, hey, here's what our experts think of this project.
Here's our slant on
exactly.
Here's how we're selling this to the public.
Here's what we have to say to you.
Yeah.
It was pretty neat though, because I brought my kids with me. I wanted them to be involved with this because this is their home. They love Ocean City. They love it here. This is what's coming down the pipe for them. And, they need to know. So when we got in, I immediately went to the visual impact, because that's going to be the emotionally charged thing. You're going to have that visual, you're going to see it. It's going to bring out those emotions in everyone. And my son started asking him all kinds of questions about the construction. And the guy's like, listen, I am literally just the visual expert. I know nothing about this. All I do is deal with the the visual impact of this project. Let me introduce you to someone. So he introduced me to someone we'll call my insider. And my insider didn't work for Boehm. They actually worked for the companies that are behind Atlantic Shores Offshore Wind. And they were telling me that basically since 2005, Boehm has been surveying the coasts of America to try and find the best place to build these turbines. And this little area that they found off of our beloved coast is the quote unquote perfect place to build these wind turbines.
And keep in mind that you think about federal agencies, and you want to believe that there's an altruistic approach, but Boehm is they're not the DEP, right? They're in their name, ocean energy. That's their goal, right?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So it was really interesting to talk to this guy, and he told me construction is going to take a couple years. He said they can actually build 1 to 2 of these turbines a day, which I thought was pretty impressive.
That's pretty crazy.
And I said to him, well, what about like the connection like to land? He's like, that's where the real issues happen, is when you have to shut down traffic, you have to do deal with the current infrastructure that you have on land. That construction almost takes longer than it does to build everything out at sea, because there's nothing out there other than waves and birds and marine life and nature. So that was interesting.
God
bless you.
Thank you.
But this guy, he was a plethora of knowledge.
Let's talk about some of the. So you mentioned marine life, so and the visual impact. So the 3 big concerns are marine and bird life, right? The including casualties resulting from seabed testing, casualties resulting from interruptions in migration patterns and food sources, and casualties during operations when they're actually constructing these things on the seabed, right?
Yeah.
So the marine and bird life are I'm convinced are going to be negatively impacted. So that's number 1. Number 2 is
listen. And then to speak of that, the only other place in the world where they have these massive wind farms is in the North Sea. Where Ørsted's home company is. They recently just had to slow the turbines down to only be able to spin 2 revolutions a minute, because it was impacting the migration of the seabirds over there. So, the only other place where you have this in, those turbines are only about 300 feet high. We're talking about ones that are 900 feet high or more. And, they're already having impact. So what impact are we going to have here?
In a high migratory bird area.
Not to mention the monarch butterflies that come here.
Yes.
Those are beautiful. That's like one of the best times to be in Ocean City. Yeah. That, late August, early September, when, you just walk through the dunes and monarchs are just flying all over. It's beautiful.
It is very cool.
I would hate to see that interrupted. That's such a special time here on the island.
Yeah. And we have to talk about the deaths of the whales and dolphins. I haven't even gone to point number 2 or number 3, but point number 1, the marine life and the bird life. So we've found 39 plus dead whales since December, and I don't even know what the body count is for the bottlenose dolphins, but they seem to be washing up on a daily basis. And Dom, the albatross and the whales, they are my brother.
100%.
I just threw some Little River at you, man.
I knew that was a song, but I'm a little bit young for Little River. I'm not gonna lie to you there.
all kidding aside, they're trying to cover their tracks with what's happening with these animals and minimize this, but that's a lot of dead mammals marine mammals in a short period of time, and I do not believe in coincidences. I don't.
I've lived in this.
The work is going on out there in the ocean, and we have daily reports of dead whales and dead dolphins. I don't believe in coincidence.
No, I've grown up in this area for. I shouldn't say grown up. I've lived in this area for 40
years. Yeah, you haven't grown up yet. Come on, let's be
honest. Hey. Trying to give myself some credit here. I'm on a podcast trying to be official. Maybe I'm a little grown up. I don't know. I doubt it. I've lived in this area, to call this area home, for 40 plus years. And I think in the past, 6 months, the number of dead sea life that has washed up has, gone up 1,000% for the previous 41 and a half years.
Right.
So, and all of a sudden you have these projects going on, this surveying, this testing, this, hey, are we going to be able to build here? So, they're telling me, no, that's not the case.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. Be no problems. The funny thing is when I was talking to my insider, I said to him,
we call him Deep Throat?
No, we can't. Just call him the insider.
I'll think it.
I said to him, I said, well, listen, what if this is just a catastrophic disaster? You have all kinds of problems here. And I said to him, and I thought for a second, I'm like, well, you guys have a lease. Anybody who's ever had a lease knows you can't break your lease. So he's like, well, if we do find things, he's under great scrutiny, according to him, from the environmental, from every aspect, they're getting scrutinized. If things do go wrong,
well, that's a lie, but we'll get back to that.
Hey, listen, if things do go wrong, there'll be, this is the lease, this is staying in, but for future leases, there could be some adjustments, there could be some amendments made. But for the leases that are already given and the leases that are already applied for, those are the leases. So no matter how disastrous to the ocean, life or the ocean ecosystem, this is where they are, this is where they're staying, this is what's happening.
So, which brings us to, I'll get back to the 3 points of contention, right? Number 2 is the economic effects to our fishing industry and to the New Jersey's $3 billion a year tourist industry. So when you're saying the negative effects, it's not just going to affect marine life or birds or crustaceans and all these creatures, but it could really destroy our fishing industry and our tourist industry.
I think you said it pretty well in the very beginning. This is the industrialization of our coastline, 100%. I'm going to share the pictures of the Ocean City, coastline with these built on our social media, on our Instagram, on our Twitter, on our Facebook, so you can go see it for yourself. It's like looking out into an industrial power plant. You go from having a beautiful view, uninterrupted horizon with boats and birds, and to, hey, here's a giant industrial power plant.
Which is point number 3, the visual pollution.
Yeah.
And as you said, that might be more quality of life. That might be more an emotional kind of response, but it's real, right?
Yeah.
Looking at these windmills to me is like driving through rural Texas and seeing, the oil rigs. It's the same,
Yeah.
It's just going to be flat out ugly, right?
I remember before you had some statistic from the Cape May County Tourism Bureau. What was that again?
It was either from the Tourism Bureau or from the county commissioners. I can't recall which. That they're projecting to lose 20 or was it 20% or 30%?
Yeah, 20%, I think it was.
20% of tourism after these are built because they are going to be visible. These wind turbines will be visible from every beach in Cape May County, and it's going to turn people off. They've already done some surveying on that, and 20% of a $3 billion per year industry.
Listen,
it's not
ironically, my insider said that when people go to the beach in the North Sea and they see the wind turbines, they actually find them comforting because they know that they're
this
doing.
guy's a piece of work. I want to have a beer with this guy. I want to party with this guy.
Hey, he was definitely be a fun guy to have a beer with, and
he has to have a big hat pulling this stuff out of
and party with, because he was a plethora of knowledge on this subject. And
knowledge, knowledge, maybe not facts, but knowledge.
Yeah.
Anyway,
stuff.
Like getting back to these issues, our concerns, right? And it seems like everyone's concerned. This is not a popular thing going on. Everybody that I know is against it at some level, some very passionately. But so there are lawsuits in play, right? There's three groups that have banded together, which is Save LBI, Defend Brigantine Beach, and Protect Our Coast NJ. And they are filing suit against the DEP and Orsted. And the reason they're filing suit against the DEP is because these projects have been fast-tracked, they've been rubber stamped. So for Deep Throat to say that they're under a lot of scrutiny is really kind of funny to me, really, because it seems to me that just the opposite is the case. But the lead attorney came out with a statement just the other day, the lead attorney for these three groups. And the statement was the NJDEP has acknowledged the wind turbines will destroy marine habitat, compress the seafloor, severely damage marine communities, compromise migration corridors for endangered marine mammals, cause commercial fishing stocks to decline, and injure the beach economy. So
can you say that again? Because that's
a mouthful.
Yeah, that's a mouthful, and it's something that I think needs to be digested for sure.
I agree. So the lead attorney for those three groups opposing this made a statement. And the statement was that the NJ Department of Environmental Protection, the one who are approving these projects, some say rubber stamping, some say fast tracking. The NJDEP has acknowledged the wind turbines will destroy marine habitat, compress the seafloor, severely damage marine communities, compromise migration corridors for endangered marine mammals, cause commercial fishing stocks to decline, and injure the beach economy. All of our concerns wrapped into one, and the state agency that's charged with overseeing this and issuing the permits has acknowledged that these things will go on, and they're catastrophic, really. Each and every one of them individually is catastrophic, and yet they're
doing all together
and rubber stamping these permits, these leases.
Well, Drew,
it's insanity, really.
It's wild, and this is a topic that I think we're definitely going to have to touch on again once this public comment period ends here for Atlantic Shores South, and maybe bring in some other people here who we know are passionate about it and passionate about seeing these projects are, I don't want to say stopped. I want to say at least put through the scrutiny that they deserve to be put through.
And I think that's what we all really want, right? Is to make sure that we have some due diligence, some data. Let's find out what the real effects will be
before we make this commitment that, according to the insider, is going to be made and it's going to be there no matter what the impact is.
Yeah. So I agree. And we kind of have, well, we have several local people that have been into this for quite a while. One of them is former councilman Mike DeVlieger. He's been vocally fighting this for quite some time. I'd like to bring him on the show.
Definitely.
And hear his thoughts. And if there's any proponents out there that we know, maybe we have them contact us and let's hear from them as well.
Yes.
What's our email, Tom?
Our email is thelocalocnj@gmail.com, or you can just send me a DM on our social media pages and we'll get back to you there as well too.
Yeah, so, I'd like to hear both sides, of course.
Definitely. Yeah. It could be hard to find a proponent here in this area. So, we'll see who shows up. But listen, before we go and wrap things up for the day, I got to give a shout out to this guy over here, Drew Fasy, because, we were at a barbecue at his house the other day, and
first one of the season.
Kicked
it off.
Great time. Kids in the pool. Everybody's just loving life. About a little over 3 years ago,
I was the grill master too, wasn't I, Dom? I was working that grill.
You were, man. The hot dogs were perfect. Burgers.
I even put vegan burgers or veggie burgers on my grill. Hey, man, I'd spend the day cleaning it.
Yeah, you should have. Definitely. You're a better man than I am for that one. But no, it was a great time.
No offense, vegans out there.
It was a great time. You live with one, so
I do.
Yeah. It was a great time. Obviously, the barbecue, everybody likes to enjoy a few libations and have a good time. About a little over 3 years ago, I gave up drinking, and we were at a buddy of ours' house prior to this, and I had bought over some non-alcoholic beer that I like, and I remember Drew picking one up and looking at it, and then lo and behold, I show up at his house. He goes, "Hey, man, I got you some of those non-alcoholic beers you like." Like, what kind of guy does that? Goes out, gets some non-alcoholic beer. Like, kudos to you, man. It really touched my heart that you thought about me and you accommodated me, and it really, really made the day for me. So thank you.
It's nice of you to say, Dom. It's wanted you to be happy and comfortable and have a good time.
Well, I appreciate
it. It was a good time.
It was a grand gesture, and I do appreciate it. So thank you.
Sure. My pleasure, sir.
Definitely.
Let's get into real quick a segment. As everyone that knows me knows, I'm a big high school sports fan. Last episode we went over the boys and girls high school basketball team. Today, sticking with the high school and a winter sport, the Ocean City High School wrestling team. There is a sophomore girl wrestler. Her name is Dana Ramirez. Dana went 19-9 this season. Dana won the Freehold Holiday Tournament. She came in second in the South region and came in sixth in the States. First time a Lady Raider wrestler has made it to state. So, yeah, great job, Dana. She's a sophomore. She's got 2 more years. I think we're going to see some good things the next 2 years. Great kid. Dom and I coach her younger brother, Dylan, who's a good little football player. We're looking forward to have him back on the team. Yep. Good family, good people. Love to see these kids have success. And so shout out to Dana. Congratulations. Great season. Keep up the hard work.
Awesome. Well, until next time, everyone, this has been the OCNJ Local, your podcast for everything happening here in America's greatest family resorts. Until next time, we're your hosts, Dominick Dougherty and Drew Fasy.
We are your local guys.
Take care, everyone. Peace.